All right, welcome back to another episode of Designing the Best You. Before we get started, as always, I want to encourage you that if anything in this episode resonates with yourself or you think that it might resonate with someone else, please head to the links in the show notes to join our email list and communities and hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're on any of the other audio platforms, Spotify and iTunes, make sure you hit subscribe so you're not missing any episodes. All right, let's dive in. So, holding a job and building a career is more complicated and competitive than ever, right? And that's really true, like we said in the last week's episode, for healthy people. When you're living with a chronic illness, when you're living with autoimmune diseases or these mysterious symptoms, it makes it really hard to thrive in your work and in your career. And let's just face it, in your family life and your community. My work here is dedicated to giving others the tools and giving others the tools to manage their work, create more balance, meet challenges with resilience, and look to the future for hope. And that consists of not just having the best resume, not just having the best LinkedIn profile, not having all the network connections, but making sure that our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health are all there. Okay, they're not going to be perfect. There's no such thing, but they're all there. Okay. And why do I do this? Because I've been there. I have been there thinking that I'm thriving in my career and then all of a sudden not. Thinking I'm thriving in my health and then all of a sudden not. Thinking that I'm thriving in my relationships and then all of a sudden not. Thinking I'm doing a great job in my marriage and with my parenting and all the things and then I'm not. Okay. I know how hard it is to focus when you have brain fog, when you've got, debilitating, maybe you got constipation or diarrhea, or you're like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I shaky all the time? Why can't I sleep at nights? Okay, it's insane, guys. People in the workplace are suffering. And as today's episode title says, people are quitting their jobs, and this is why. Okay, it's not what you think. Okay, a major thing happened last year in 2023, and it's not going to be going away anytime soon. You know what it's called? Quiet quitting. And you're like, what is that, Vanessa? Quiet quitting is when employees put in the bare minimum effort to keep their jobs and they don't go the extra mile for their employer. First of all, how many of you are like, let's now be honest with yourself, are like, that's me because I don't really like my job, or I have an autoimmune condition or a health issue. That's all I can do. Or as many of us do, we point the finger at other people and we say, oh, yeah, I've got a team member who does that as well. Well, here's the thing. This is what it means. It might mean not speaking up in meetings, not volunteering for tasks, refusing to work overtime. And it also results in greater absenteeism. Okay. You're like, I've got all these days off, so why not just use them? Right. I'm not saying don't use them, but I'm saying don't abuse them. Okay. But I'm here to argue. So, what if behaviors that are diagnosed as this term that's now out there as quiet quitting, being disengagement, low energy, reduced productivity, are actually symptoms of a hidden physical health condition, maybe a mental condition, maybe both? Okay. Here's the thing: 1 in 6 workers out there, employed workers, are fighting a hidden illness. And those are the ones who know they have a hidden illness. Okay. Think about the ones who don't know too. And I don't know that number because they don't know. Right. So, as an ambitious, career driven person, like so many of you are, I personally was motivated to climb the career ladder. Yet, my my personal chronic health journey, okay, that's went on for so many years. It was since before college days. Though that health mystery seemed to stop me in my tracks. I had unpredictable health episodes, as I would call them, would pop up without warning, leading to days and nights, some spent in the ER. One paramedic visit happened in my parents' home on Christmas Eve. I had many times where I remember I would pass out, I'd black out, and I'd be like, what's going on here? Okay, I was literally terrified that I was acutely ill, and I struggled to put it into words as to what was going on to my managers at the time. Okay. I tried to explain to them why I was so exhausted. They're like, "That's but you have high energy." But I'm like, "I'm so exhausted inside. And I can't figure out why." I remember telling one of them that I couldn't afford to lose any more sick days. And I was in fear of losing my job because every day, like those days that they give you off, those sick days and personal days, I was using them for sick. Like I was legitimately sick, couldn't get out of bed, passed out, what it was in the ER the last, the night before, something like that. I didn't use them as I believe we should, as basically like mental health days, or hey, you know what? I want to take that pottery class, and you know what? It's only offered during the week, and I want to do it. We should have the right to do that, by the way. Okay. So I remember telling them that I couldn't afford to lose those sick days. And early on in my career, and many of you can probably relate to this, I was ping ponging back and forth from doctor to doctor with no answers. And I was referred out to different physicians and psychiatrists, and for symptoms that I implied that were like, as you guys all are aware of this, they were all in my head apparently. And I just needed more rest. Why don't you just take a vacation, Vennessa? Now, after a long and draining health journey, and that was early in my life, okay? Remember I said these chronic health conditions and symptoms started before college, right? Before college, I mean, you're in your teens, right? That's when you're supposed to be really enjoying life. You're getting to be an adult and all that stuff, okay? But anyways, after a long and draining health journey, I was finally diagnosed, okay? And so many of you know are like, "Oh my gosh, I am finally diagnosed. Thank goodness." I actually, on a side note, had a friend that posted something on a social media platform, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, youngest son or youngest third of fourth children has been back and forth all these years, and we want a diagnosis, but we don't." And that's how a lot of you feel. It's like, I'm finally diagnosed, but I'm not sure I wanted that answer. Or now what? Okay, so, but after I was finally diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, which, if any of you listening don't know quite what that is, it's a group of about 100 conditions, all named differently, in which the body's immune system mistakenly attacks normal, healthy cells. Okay. So the first autoimmune condition I was diagnosed with was called Addison's disease, which is quite rare, like one in a million, y'all. And I actually didn't have it. I uncovered the true root cause of why my body acted as if, and it's in previous episodes, and there's links in the show notes to other podcasts that I was on that I shared that on in detail. So go ahead and listen to those, because it really will help you understand that doctors just go about diagnosing all over the place. I'm not about that. I don't believe in diagnoses. Okay. But anyways, the second one that I do have, it's getting into remission. It's been in and out, is Hashimoto's, and that's a thyroid autoimmune condition. Okay. And that was 10 years later. And that was a result of childhood trauma. Okay. So it's like, oh my gosh, I was finally diagnosed. I got that Addison's disease, or quote, Addison's disease, under control. And then, oh, I now have Hashimoto's after my second child was born. Why? Right. I thought I was doing good. All right. So, anyways, again, if you look back on and listen back on previous episodes, like early in season 3, or in season 3 or season 4, um, where the first couple episodes I'm talking about like what I did for a living and how it all happened, all how it all came about. Okay. But I started off my career as an engineer and process improvement specialist. So root cause analysis was literally in our blood. It was forced into our training, it was forced into our education. So I'm so incredibly grateful for that. And this is why, because when I was first diagnosed, I did a lot of research. And here's the thing, I was actually shocked to discover how widespread and overlooked autoimmunity is in America. Okay. Here's the thing, there's an estimated 50 million Americans. Now, if you're listening from another country, this is just America. Okay. This is just the United States of America. 50 million Americans suffer from at least one autoimmune condition, at least one. That's 1 in 6 people. That's 15% of the United States workforce. And we're not addressing this. Okay. It's pretty serious. All right. That's And here's the thing, just like myself, 8 out of 10 patients that I've had, clients that I've had, and other people that I've talked to, other practitioners who work with people, they don't do like the career aspect of it, but they do gather their information about their career and their work life and that type of stuff. 8 out of 10 say their work has been affected by their autoimmune disease. And then 2/3 of those 50 million Americans, 2/3 of that 15% of the US workforce, they're unable to work full time. Okay, maybe that's you. And it sucks. You want to be able to add to our economy. You want to be able to take your gifts and skills that God gave you and apply them, right? Not just lay in bed all day. The economic and social scale of this problem, guys, is enormous. Okay? It is enormous. Yet these are invisible illnesses and they continue to fly under the radar. Okay? So here's what I believe are reasons why businesses need to wake up and take notice of this autoimmune epidemic. Okay? And then I'm going to give you some tips to uncover the root causes to your autoimmune disease. Okay? So here's the first thing to businesses, to companies, to employers, to managers. Guys, it's directly affecting your bottom line. Okay. Here's some numbers because I know you guys all like numbers. The economic burden of autoimmune patients for companies is staggering, let alone we'll call it normal health issues. Okay. Right. I'm not saying any of these are better or worse than another, but you've got autoimmune and then you've got things like, oh, I've got the flu. Oh, I've got, diabetes or something like that, things that you really, really can control. A lot of autoimmune diseases are triggered by childhood trauma that's already happened, or genetics that you can't change, but are triggered by your lifestyle. Okay, so let's not say that that's the only thing is trauma and genetics. It's you can have trauma and genetics and not have really bad autoimmune disease. Let's just say it that way. Okay, but it is estimated that let's say rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, rheumatoid arthritis people alone who have that condition costs self-funded employers $34,000 per employee per year. That's only one of the 100 conditions. Okay. Altogether, self-funded employers spend 4 times more on autoimmune patients than the average employee. Okay. And let's just put it this way too. A lot of you out there are getting the holistic health. And the holistic health aspect isn't even, we'll call it allowed by normal insurance, right? It's out of pocket. Okay. So that part isn't even being captured. Okay. Then you've got patients who are on biologics, which biologics, they're anti-inflammatory drugs that are used to treat autoimmune conditions. Okay. And those things, right? You get their insurance and blah, 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 that stuff. Okay. That financial impact is even grimmer. Okay. Humira, that's a brand name biologic for multiple autoimmune conditions. The list price of that is almost $80,000 for a single patient. Blows my mind. Where do we get, by the way, on the side note, like, where do we get all this money in America? Oh, yeah, we're in debt. Another time, another topic, another time, maybe. So then you have Hashimoto's. Okay, we just finished up in January Thyroid Awareness Month. Okay, Hashimoto's is the most common thyroid autoimmune disorder. Okay, it's not a thyroid disease, it's a thyroid autoimmune disorder in the United States. And that's 14 million Americans. So, right, we had 50 million Americans have one autoimmune disease. 14 million of those are Hashimoto's. Okay, that disorder costs about $2,500 per patient per year. Okay, and here's this just, it blew my mind, but it didn't blow my mind. Autoimmune medications have surpassed cancer drugs in the terms of cost and growth rate by 459% in the past decade. And in just 30 years, the past 30 years, so just prior to the year 2000, y'all, okay, the number of Americans with autoimmune diseases has more than doubled. And the rates, they're continuing to rise. And so will the financial toll on businesses due to what? Higher premiums and the growing number of expensive interventions. Okay. And guys, it's insane. The cost of treating autoimmune diseases is estimated at more than $100 billion a year in the United States. Okay, so it's affecting your bottom line, right? It really is. Okay. And here's the second thing, right? So that first one was affecting the bottom line. The second one is your employees, their quality of life is suffering. And I can say that from personal experience. It suffers. It really does. When it comes to granting leave, there's certain health conditions you think about that are more straightforward, right? Someone's got a major surgery they have to go through, they're going through grief, a parent died or something like that, and they have to manage the affairs of that. Very simple, right? You get X amount of days. You should be able to handle that in X amount of days. Easy, right? Okay. They're given as much time as they need to recover, pretty much. Okay. However, autoimmune diseases are a gray area. And I'm saying autoimmune diseases, but also mysterious symptoms, because sometimes we haven't been diagnosed yet, and we haven't been told that we have, a certain set of conditions or whatever it may be. Like I said earlier, I don't like the word diagnoses, but a lot of you still go to conventional doctors, and that's fine. And you're looking for that diagnosis, okay? But it's a gray area. Okay, because the severity of these conditions varies significantly based on the person. Okay, you've lived different things, you have different traumas, you have different experiences, you're in different environments, different parts of the United States, different financial statuses, things like that. Okay, you have different severity of those conditions. Okay, symptoms, they can flare up automatically, unexpectedly. I'm telling you, you can walk an extra mile with your kids or something, and you are down and out for a couple days if have unresolved issues there. It sucks. Let's just put it that way. It sucks. You could have a night of semi decent sleep, and then the next night, you're thinking you're gonna have semi decent sleep, and your kid wakes you up two times because they're sick, and then you are flared up. You are just all over the place. You could have pushed yourself just like a 0.5% more in your workout, and you've got flare ups or whatever it is. You could have unexpectedly come across cross contamination of food and have something you're not supposed to have, and you have flare ups. Okay. That's the things. Okay. And it's for unpredictable amount of time. It's not like, okay, and this is what I say to everyone who has autoimmune conditions. Um, Most of my patients in general stay away from gluten. Okay. You could have had a bite like person A over here could have had a a bun at a restaurant that was not gluten free. And then person B, the same thing, same restaurant, same day even, okay? And this person takes 5 days to recover, and this person only takes two. Okay, you're not gonna know. And even the the person that knows themselves and is aware of it, they're still not gonna fully know. Because, oh, on Tuesday I had this and it took me 3 days to recover. And this time next month or the month before, I had it and it took me 6 days to recover. Like it's not going to be the same. Okay? And then you have some people, including myself, have been told these symptoms will just go away if we take care of ourselves more. Just go home and rest. Don't go to all the different events with your kids on the weekends. Just rest. Why don't you order out tonight? Just rest. Why don't you go watch that TV show? Just rest. Okay? And like myself and so many of my other clients, those with autoimmune diseases are forced to use their sick days due to their condition. Okay, people with inflammatory bowel disease or Crohn's or IBS tend to require twice as many sick days as compared to their colleagues. Almost half of employees with psoriasis, which is a skin condition, need to miss work regularly due to their disease. Then you've got the more extreme end of it that warrants weeks of leave at a time. Those of you with lupus typically take 2 sick days per month to deal with bad flare ups. Think about that. 2 times 12, that's 24 sick days. That's how many? That's 3 weeks of your vacation gone. Not to go have a fun time in Hawaii or something like that, to deal with in bed your flare ups or at the hospital, at the doctor's office. No way. Okay. And then even on those days that we are able to show up, usually not fully present. And it's hard because so many of those with autoimmune diseases, you don't look sick, right? Like when someone's got a flu, you're like, oh boy, like you are sweating, you are gross, you just are pale in the face. Oh my God, you just threw up. Yeah, you're definitely pale. You got a little bad breath, whatever. Like you look sick, right? Or you're red in the face, you're flushed, like you look sick. Okay. The symptoms aren't always apparent and they can be extremely debilitating and prevent us from being our full selves at work due to fatigue, brain fog, chronic pain. We got dizziness, digestive issues, skin itchiness. You can break out in hives. Had that happen. Not to mention the mental aspect of it, guys. You're like, this is so unpredictable. Is tomorrow going to be a good day or not? I can think it's going to be a good day. I can think those positive thoughts, but it might not be because I know this invisible condition and it sucks, right? You can still thrive with these conditions and with these mysterious illnesses, yes, but I'm telling you that the mental health struggles that come with it, the depression, the anxiety, the trauma triggers, other mood disorders, the invisibility of these symptoms creates a stigma that make it so much more difficult to talk about and even for employers to understand. They try, you guys try, but it's really hard, okay? And then here's the third thing is it's and I'm going to speak specifically to women and other minorities because it's driving them out of the workplace. Okay? It's something that really needs to be looked at, okay? And it's unfortunate because women bear the brunt of the autoimmune epidemic. Okay? 80% of autoimmune patients are women. Okay? And then there's certain conditions like Hashimoto's that are 16 times more common in women. Then you add another level to it. And unfortunately, I can't personally speak to this as you can see, but there's the people of color, your situation is even graver. Lupus is 3 times more prevalent in Black and Hispanic women than non Hispanic white women. Okay. And it's just insane. Okay. The disproportionate impact on women and people of color, what happens in the workplace? It really poses a very critical diversity and equity and inclusion issue for employers. Because here's the thing research, and you guys can look it up, you can ask me all the things, okay? Research has shown that autoimmunity is triggered during major hormonal shifts, something that men don't have like we do. Okay, yeah, they have puberty, but they don't go through pregnancy, they don't go through menopause, okay? You got postpartum too, right? All right. And then when you uncover childhood trauma and abuse that you may have, it just like blows up. It's just this huge, huge problem, right? In many cases, this occurs, and this is so hard for women to accept. I mean, we deal with a lot, but to accept and actually make changes about, okay? Because many times when you're uncovering this stuff because you're going through pregnancy, you're going through menopause, you're going through those type of things, you're uncovering childhood trauma because your mind is able to comprehend some of that stuff now. It occurs at a time when women's careers should be moving into a senior leadership role, right? You're at least 35 years old. I'm going to tell you at least, most likely 40. And yet, it's another invisible career barrier for women that's not spoken about. It really needs to be. Okay. So, like we talked earlier, for conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, it's 3 times more likely to affect women than men. And then half of the patients leave the workforce permanently, less than 10 years after being that that disease of rheumatoid arthritis, its onset. And then 90% stop working before they reach 65. So tackling autoimmunity head on. And when I say that, I mean finding the root causes. Okay. Finding those root causes. It could be parasites. It could be you have candida. It could be these underlying chronic infections that you have. It could be genetics. It could be your lifestyle, meaning your diet, your movement, your sleep hygiene, those type of things. It could be your stress. It could be uncovering that you have childhood trauma that's unresolved. And once you get through that, you'll be able to manage it better. Okay. Now, no, you can't, your employers can't do that for you. But here's the thing when we tackle that, we find those root causes, that can help level the playing field and elevate leadership for women and other minorities. And I'm going to go into that in further episodes. Okay. So stay tuned because it's really, really important. Okay. So I said I was going to talk about some tips. What can you do as an employer? Okay. Employer, manager, business owner, even colleague. Okay, guys, it's so important. Don't isolate yourself or put yourself into a specific bubble when I say like employer. Okay. First and foremost, I want you to meet your employees where they're at. Okay. Those of us with autoimmune diseases, we have different disease triggers, we have different treatments, we have different preferences on how to manage our conditions. So, by you being a healthy ally, is going to be important and it's going to look different based on each person. Billy over here, you may be able to do X and you can't do X with Sally over here. You might have to do Y and Z. Okay. So be mindful too of the stigma that comes with these conditions. Not everyone will be willing to talk about what they're experiencing, but I'm going to tell you this, it does not mean they aren't fighting a daily battle. Talk to any of their spouses, talk to any of their kids. Okay. They're fighting a daily battle. And I'm not saying that any one of us without autoimmune conditions aren't fighting a daily battle. This is a different, it's not worse, it's not better. It is a different battle that most people don't understand. When when those autoimmune workers let you in on their experience, I want you to approach them with empathy. I want you to approach them with understanding and curiosity. Don't like drill them with questions, but just like, how is it to work with this? Like, do you take a lot of 6 days? Maybe you're not in the same, environment and you're a different department, but like, do you take a lot of sick days? Like, how does that look? Like, what can I do to help on those sick days? Like, show that empathy. Like I said on last episode, we need to practice that more. Okay, empathy is what's going to be communicating, and empathy is going to be what gets us through a lot, especially over these years after COVID. All right, so just because you have known someone with autoimmune disease, or your wife has it, or your husband has it, your kid has it, or so and so neighbor has it, doesn't mean you know that this employee, what they're going through, you don't know exactly what they're going through. Okay, you can say, hey, I have a daughter who has this autoimmune condition. It's not the same as yours, but I somewhat understand. Can you tell me more about it if you feel like it? Right. And let them know that what you're going to say and they're going to tell you is going to be kept between you, and that you're not going to treat them any different work wise, right? Meaning you're not going to give them extra projects. You're not going to like all that type of stuff. If they say they can do it, you're just going to take a little extra precaution and you're just going to ask them questions about it, right? And here's the thing is build flexibility into your policies. Being able to work from home or take additional sick days, that could be the big difference between an autoimmune worker being able to stay in the workforce or not. And here's a little side note. We actually want to work. We really do. Because a lot of times those of us with autoimmune conditions, we feel like we're a burden. Like, oh, I have to ask for an extra sick day. I know Sally over here doesn't have one and works really hard and does deserve extra sick days, but I really need one. So being able to have that flexibility is huge. Or being like, hey, you know what? No, you can't take an extra day off, but I will allow you to work from home. Does that help? Okay. We want to be seen as everyone else. A one size fits all approach, even with or without autoimmune conditions, I don't believe works. Okay. Speak to your teams. Literally have a very candid conversation. Okay. Buy them all coffee, buy them all whatever it is, take them a lunch, bring lunch in, whatever it is, give them an extra hour off or something like that, and say, like, hey, you know what? I want to give you autonomy to figure out what are the best accommodations that you need to be your best. What would help? You're not going to agree with all of them. You're not going to implement all of them, but you can all come to a conclusion, be like, hey, you know what? Maybe everyone does know that Sally over here has Hashimoto's and she can be down and out. And then this person over here has rheumatoid arthritis or they have psoriasis or whatever it is. They know that, right? And they have some ideas or they've seen things that work. Okay. Everyone's a team. That's how we get things done, right? And offering your team's tools and resources and ongoing support about how to navigate their condition, that's huge. Because here's the thing, whether the person has just received a diagnosis or has had that diagnosis for 10 years, whatever it may be, just receiving the diagnosis in general is an extremely isolating experience. Okay, even at the beginning of my own journey, I was terrified and overwhelmed. I'm like, how do I move forward? Like the doctor says I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know. Like, what do I do? How do I think? Like all these type of things. So employers can and should actively provide access to education and resources as a work benefit. Okay, as I've seen over the years, those that do provide resources will absolutely see significant medical savings in the long run. Why? Because that's going to be reducing the people's reliance on biologics and other expensive interventions, and implementing what I like to call, and what I work with clients on, evidence-based dietary and lifestyle modifications. Yeah, sometimes you still are going to need the biologics and stuff like that, but most of the time, if you can work on those evidence-based, the data-driven dietary lifestyle modifications, it's huge. Okay. But ultimately, it is up to the employer to empower teams to bring their healthiest selves to work. And then it's up to the individual to work on things like evidence based dietary and lifestyle modifications. And to have the communication, like I talked about in last week's episode, on how to speak up about it. Okay. Because investing in your employees' health, in your colleagues' health, is an investment in the long term health of your business. I know this. Okay. And I'm huge on focusing on those lifestyle changes, right? The diet that's specific to you, the nutrition. Diet's to me a bad word, but focusing on the nutrition, rest, movement, stress management in my practice, because all of those impact our productivity and the ability to level up in our careers and in our businesses, right? And if we don't have those in order per se, like we're gonna struggle, whether we have a chronic condition or not. Okay. Which is why I have individual customized protocols that allow you to explore and see your situation from a different perspective. And then you've got working with myself, someone who understands your challenges. I've lived the life, I'm still living the life. I've worked with hundreds of people like you. And I'm allowing you in the programs that I have and the protocols that I give you specifically, not just to survive with your conditions and your mysterious symptoms, but to thrive. That's why I talk about leveling up in your career. Leveling up in that career, as we've talked before, is not just at a W 2 job. You could be a stay at home parent, leveling up as a parent, leveling up in your community, leveling up at church as a volunteer. That's my goal. We need people to use their skills that were given to you by God, not to just sit dormant. Okay, given those skills in the workplace to better our communities, our home, and our country. Okay, so I hope that was a great episode for you. It was for me. If you need more clarity and you want to figure out what your body's telling you, you want to figure out how to level up. Okay, I encourage you to get on a call with me, and that's in the links in the show notes. It's free, there's no obligation, there's no push for sale, anything like that. I want people to have a place to talk. I want people to have an opportunity to be like, yeah, I actually do need some more help and whatnot. Okay. I don't want you to spend the same time and energy and money that I did for 15 plus years trying to figure this out. I want you to start now on taking control of your own health. Okay. So, again, don't wait. Get in those show notes. And until next time, let's keep uncovering the root causes of your symptoms and your diseases and design the best you that this world so desperately needs.